it's time to break down the best airs ever laid down in CT competition. And really the conversation started because Gabriel Medina, well, he threw himself into one of the biggest airs that we've seen all year, definitely the turn of the year. And he's back. He's back in a big way. I think it just flicked the switch for him. He's been surfing well, but that just changed things. His rides following that amazing near perfect wave, or that perfect wave I should say, were unbelievable, and almost he could have had a perfect heat.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it, and it's been said, is not only did he boost probably the best air we've seen all year, but he's been backing it up with really strong carves, big snaps, so he is just surfing on point across the board, Pete.
Yeah, exactly, and we love when you have this type of move happening and you get this reaction from all the people around, including you guys, when you're in there watching it. It's like, oh, that's the best air we've ever seen, right? I mean, that's what kind of came out of that, and now we got to compare it, and there's some amazing aerials that we have, but this was the wave that came after he did the air, and think about how much confidence he had. I mean, this could have, if this had happened maybe before the air, it could have been a 10, right? But I mean, it's like the excitement level wasn't quite as high, but the surfing was about as perfect as you can get.
Yeah, he blitzed that rider. I love watching that turn. Medina's such a beefcake these days. It was one of those airs, it kind of sounds ridiculous saying it sometimes, but it had a lot of power in it.
No, it's a valid point, and I think that's, there's different types of airs. There's airs where you're more clicky and popping, like an ollie for skating or something like that, and then there's airs where you're just hucking it, and that was definitely a huck.
It had all of us making some comparisons, and we started thinking about the best airs that we've seen in CT competition, and our minds went way back to 2011 New York. Bells Beach first. We'll have a look at that one. So this was 2012.
Kelly's 2 Hail Marys, and this was the one he did at Bells against Mick Fanning. And again, just out into the flats, the rotation was all there. That he planted it, and Kelly's just always the one that. And again, same type of air, no grabs, and a clean pull.
Well, speaking of hucking, that is Kelly's MO. He's not technical like a Julian or a Felipe, where he's getting that extra pop and really kind of forecasting the type of air he's going to do. He just hits a ramp and hucks himself as high as he can.
I remember he needed a near perfect score in that heat against Taj Burrow as well, and Taj had to watch that one from out the back. Now we're going to throw our attention to John Florence. This was from Bali back in 2013 with that strapped ankle, no dramas.
And Pete, the cool thing about this, Aaron, is we're going to see a bunch of this, especially from Julian, is the way he landed. And there is a big luck factor involved there. Like different aerials kind of separate themselves with how cool the landing is. We talk about how seamless it is, if it's been greased or if they have to recover. But that one was one of the first we've seen that high and that big that was just seamless.
And the other thing, Pete, is there was the big claim there.
Yeah.
People giving Gabriel a hard time for his claim after his huge air. I think he surprised himself.
That's kind of similar to, I mean, when you do airs like them, they're Hail Marys. These are Hail Marys. You're swinging for the fences right here. Your back's up against the wall, and you do these types of moves and that kind of a situation. You're just hoping that it comes down. You've done these types of airs for years, and it's hard to do in a jersey, but, the alley-oop's different, too, from, the backside 3 or the frontside 3, too. So you can get a lot of amplitude with this type of move. Not that I'm like super experienced at it, but you see, if you can
talk it down, he can do an air. But Julian Wilson, a couple of huge alley-oops, and then this guy Felipe Toledo, who was always going to make the highlight reel. He has landed a couple of monsters with the jersey on.
Well, here's the thing, watching all these airs, you really are hesitant as a group of people to give one person more credit than the other. They're all really amazing, but if I was pushed to give one guy kind of the edge leading the pack, I'm sure you guys probably agree it's Felipe.
Well, the consistency and the radicalness of his airs, even like just his slow moving frontside 3s have pop, like you talked about pop, and he's got the best pop of all of these guys. Talking about like there's a difference between that powerful air that we were talking about with Gabriel Medina compared to this one, which is about technical, kind of you can do it with lower speed, I guess.
Well, the cool thing about Felipe too is he's such a showboat. I mean, he does it. This is in the finals right here in Rio. How was that one? That was probably the wildest one. That was out into the flats. I mean, my knees would have been flying to the beach. Limbs would have been everywhere.
Yeah, just exploded.
What he's missing in height on this one too, he makes up for in distance. He travelled so far. He cleared the entire section, actually buckled his board on that occasion. That's poor old B. Durbidge in that final. He surfed so well in that final and just couldn't get a score on the board against Felipe. He was just ruling.
A legit 540. I mean, he rotated way over 360. That was pretty cool.
Well, hopefully we see a couple more of those. We know that we're looking at a pretty decent forecast swell-wise, but there's some guys that aren't afraid to throw down big airs in huge surf, as we saw in that highlights package.